This one's a great question. What player actions annoy me the worst? And this is really for the sake of the game, not really me. I can't stand it when people are hiding their big chips, intentionally or unintentionally. I'm like very cognizant to look around the table and have those players put their large denomination chips on top or in front. Also can't stand when someone goes all in and hides them as they're pushing the chips out. There are people who will stack all their chips up and then slide one stack out to indicate the all in, and they'll put their one huge chip all the way at the bottom. I reach over, I make sure it's out front. I like unstack the chips and make sure it's out front. Sometimes I just, if it's a seat that's not all that close to me, I just like reach over and like knock off the few chips on top so everyone could easily see the large denomination chip that was on the bottom. Can't stand that. In addition to that, I guess when people in like the 3 and the 7 seats fold their cards or put their bets in about like 1/65th of a millimeter in front of the betting line, and I have to reach as far as possible, and they do it about 100 times in 30 minutes, that's pretty annoying. But yeah, hiding the big chips, because that's just, either you don't know, you're like cheating in a way, or you do know. Either way, it's bad. It's there's some people who are just new. I guess in table games you want to keep your large denomination chips, you know, before you bet them, as close to you as possible for like safety purposes. But it's bad. I can only imagine what goes on tables where like a stack of like 35 chips go out and the one huge chip is at the bottom and the dealer's not making sure that chip comes out front. But I make sure, because I don't want people to be calling all in and not knowing what they're calling. If they're too lazy to look over and they don't see it, that's on them, but I make it as visible as possible before it even matters, when I just look around at the stacks and see whose big chips are very difficult to be seen by other players, and when the chips come across the line, I make sure the largest chips can be seen if anyone looks over. All right, this is like a 3-in-1. Do I have a choice between tournaments and cash? I guess there's something of a choice before your first day, as you're like applying and auditioning and signing up. I guess I signed up for like the summer series, so it's like tournaments first. I can deal cash, so I have been when they need me to do it, but it's tournaments first. I guess next summer, if I ask for like, you know, a shift that starts at like midnight or something, most or all the tournaments would be done and it would be just cash games. But like once you're in it, like no, I really didn't like, I mean, I auditioned for like tournaments. Yeah, there was like no talk during the audition about cash. I was like auditioning for the tournaments, and that's what I deal first. Can you deal pit games? That's a totally different department. I mean, you could like switch departments. There are people who used to deal table games who are poker dealers now, but no, you don't do both on like the same day in the same week, something like that. And cash tips in Nevada, you just cash out your cash tips and you take them home. Link to the top on the tip compliance video. I do know last time I was in WinStar and Potawatomi in Milwaukee, the dealers told me their tips are counted when the night is over, and that number is written down and it's added to their paycheck. So they don't go home with cash ever. The casino, the state government, the federal government know exactly what they made, and they're taxed on all of it. You work 10 hours, for example, at $10 an hour, $100 in wage, you have $300 in tips. So it's 100 in wage, 300 in tips, and they just write down 400. You earned 400 that day, and that'll happen for every day in the pay period. And then when the pay period's over, you get a check for that amount, and you're taxed on that whole amount. That's how it works in Milwaukee and WinStar. WinStar in Thackerville, Oklahoma, technically in Chickasaw Nation, and might be other places in the country. I know for sure last time I played each of those places, that's how it worked over there, but it's the opposite in Nevada. I know it's also the Nevada way, the cash way in Atlantic City. Can't speak for every single city and state out there though. How much do dealers make a year in Vegas? 100K question mark? I wouldn't say that much. You could have multiple jobs. I know someone who has 3 dealing jobs. I don't know how many hours it is, but I know it's 3 positions, like 1 position at 3 different casinos dealing poker. So if you wanted to, I guess you can. If you had like 1 position that's like supposed to be like 40 hours a week, I mean, there are times you're forced to stay. It's just so busy. No new dealers are coming in. Tables aren't breaking. You got to stay later. There are times there's not enough going on. There are more dealers than dealers that are needed. And some people start getting sent home. Some people request to go home. But if it were like, you know, you're trying to get 2,000 hours a year, lighting, say in Vegas, a lot make between like 40 and 70. It's an estimate. And if you wanted to know, like, do any poker dealers make 100? I would say the best, I mentioned this in another video, your best opportunity would be to work at a place where poker is new to the area and there's a ton of tables. Probably happened when MGM National Harbor opened. It probably happened when Maryland Live opened. For one, no shortage of hours. Maryland Live has over 50 tables on 2 floors. MGM National Harbor often had like 20, 25, just 1-3 no limit games going. That summer I was there in 2018. So if you wanted to just maximize your hours, you could be on the clock for a lot over the course of a year. Also, in cities where poker is new, a lot of people are generous tippers, not appropriate tippers. Las Vegas has a lot of appropriate tippers. A lot of hands that end pre-flop don't get tipped. A lot of like chopped pot, or you know, the blinds chop, don't get tipped. A lot of promos, plenty don't get tipped. Some get tipped like an extra like $1 or $2. Oh, there were like, I remember in MGM National Harbor in summer 18, there were just random table draws. Your table got drawn, everyone at the table got $100. Like, it was common to see like 10s and 20s thrown to the dealer. They were just very generous tippers. There were also people who just tipped, like, they hit a strong hand, even if it didn't trigger a promo, even if they didn't win a big pot. Like if someone hit quads and the pot were only $20, the dealer might get like $15. Just like, oh, quads, so cool. Like, you don't hit quads that often. Oh, and like the dealer got a huge tip out of it. Someone in Vegas hits quads on a $20 pot, the dealer's probably getting like $1, maybe $2. So a lot of generous tippers in cities where poker is new. That would be your best chance to make $100,000 as a dealer with just 1 position. And the camera doesn't show it, but it is getting dark out here. Last one is, do I prefer dealing cash or tournaments? Stay tuned. There will be a video getting very specific on this, but the short answer, tournaments. It's just easier and it's more money, at least at Orleans. I don't have anything else to go on. I haven't dealt at Aria, at Wynn, at Bellagio, at Nugget, at MGM, at Flamingo, at Harrah's, at Planet Hollywood. I haven't dealt in Borgata in Atlantic City. I haven't dealt in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I've dealt at Orleans this summer. It's not a huge sample, but this is all the data I have to go on. I've been keeping track. I make more dealing tournaments than cash, despite the rage that lives in some people who will tell me I don't know how to add and the numbers are wrong. Tournaments are definitely easier. There's no question about that. And there's also no question that I've been making more dealing tournaments than cash. So as long as this car doesn't swerve off the road and kill me, that will be the end of the video. Success, the car didn't kill me. So yeah, last, either last or penultimate. Not sure if you're getting another Q&A video, but that wraps up this one. And oh, the cigar. This is a cigar, a Luminosa cigar. Never heard of it before. I like it. It's a little tough to light. The matches I have aren't very good. Those Bellagio matches are such trash. They light and then they go out in like half a second. But I like the taste. One of the cigars that the famous Josh Morrow gave me. So he gave me 2 tie-dye shirts. He gave me 2 cigars. Using everything. That wraps up this video.
Yeah, I got it at the stadium.